Live right now. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have all of you. What a great day. And we are here to talk about the power of patience, exploring moments of patience in video games and anime. With me, I have the wonderful Mahatma Starseed. Mahatma, if you would like to say hello.
Hi, peace and light.
Yep.
Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure.
Okay.
So before we get into it,
Excited.
I'm
Always
excited
nice
too.
to talk about it.
I'm excited as well. I can't wait. This is going to be a great event, and we got a lot to go over. And here, so just like here on Toonamaste podcast, we like to talk about everything involving not only nerd culture, anime, video games, cartoons, all that stuff, but also come at it from an angle of holistic awareness of, well, how can we take the lessons that we see in these mediums and bring them into our everyday life. So, patience is key. I'm sure all of you have heard that before. It is a valuable skill. Even more than a skill, I would say it's probably like a lifestyle. What do you think of that, Muhammad? You think it's a lifestyle?
For sure, you definitely gotta embody that. Yes. You know, I feel like when I was being the old version of me, I thought that I had like a really big like grasp of being patient. However, like creating this more mindfulness lifestyle, I'm realizing, how much more of like an embodiment, these skills need to be for us and not just something that we pick up from time to time.
Hmm. Hmm. I feel that. I definitely feel that. That is definitely something that you pick up, like through experience and over time. Uh, Definitely comes from a state of just being aware of what you're picking up too. That's a good segment to lead us into our first segment, which is the art of patience in video games. So, all right, well, we could talk about how video games actually require you to be patient as an individual. And I think a good example of those are like role playing games. In a role playing game, the goal is to go through the story and develop your character. Players see a mountain in front of them and they want to climb it. I would say that you have to be patient in order to be a part of that journey, but even more than patient, you need to also enjoy the moment. What do you think of that, Muhammad?
It's like being able to appreciate what you built for yourself, and that those things come with a duration of time, and anybody understands what duration means. It means uh it means elapse, and being able to just accept that trial and error just needs to be a part of anything that you do. And when it's not a part of it, like, who knows, like, do that. But being able to just allow ourselves to just go through the mode to reach completion, and learning to then like scrutinize or criticize the level of ability that was shown
Hmm.
is definitely necessary. And if we don't practice like that mode of patience, it oftentimes our like actual test time can be longer because we're not like just like seeing it through and letting it play out. And we spend a lot of time scrutinizing certain parts of ourselves instead of just like, just go here.
Hmm. I see what you're saying,
Be
and like to make sure.
patient.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
You'll see yourself soon enough.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say like I would just make sure I fully understood that, which is that you got to stop being so focused on the end goal, or if you're doing it right, and just be there. Just just play the game of life, or the actual game.
And yeah, and if you think it's gonna, if you're really feeling like that you have an end game, right? Because a lot of people may or may not be that proactive and think of like the end game, and they'll, and like, just in the regards of a game, like some people just go in and play and not really have like an end game. And so I'll use what game I'm playing with myself right now because I'm like in love with it. Um, Candy Crush, and
Hmm.
you can, and you're like, I'm just gonna like connect these dots until whatever it says I'm done. Uh, or you can actually like take a moment and look and see like what does the legend say? Like what is it actually telling you to do in this episode? And when you step back, sometimes I'll lose a game because I didn't look. I just went and was like, just I'm really just playing it because I like to like smash the jellies or whatever. That's why people are playing it. But in order for you to actually be strategic, and sometimes I need to let like the chocolates fill the squares. But if I keep like blasting these striped candies and it doesn't get to fill the squares, and I like destroy the thing that makes the chocolates, and I still have like 15 moves left, but I'm not going to even be able to pass the level because I destroyed the thing I needed to pass the level.
Hmm.
And so like once that happens, like when I see I have like mad moves left and it ends me, I'm like, damn, I wasn't paying attention. Like I just went and pressed play.
Hmm. That's really interesting. I really like what you mentioned about the thing that you needed, you destroyed to pass the level, and it made me think about like a time in my life where I was younger and like I was just frustrated a lot as a kid because I just didn't have a good grasp on regulation on my emotions. And I remember like I was like playing with a toy and I was getting frustrated with it, and I because I was so frustrated with it, I broke it. And then I was like, wow, I can't do anything with this. And I got this for a reason to use it, but now I can't even use it because I broke it because I was impatient. Mm.
Yeah,
Really?
patience plays a big part for us, and a lot of people think that, oh, games are just, occupied your time games. And it's like no, there's levels to these games. Like the game makers know what they're doing. They know that there's several levels of people playing the same game. And so they'll make it pretty enough for those that are just coming to just like blow off some steam. It's pretty enough for them. They know that person's probably not going to play for too long. They're just doing it to like, get 5 or 10 minutes of a steam off. And then there's those people that are really looking to push their brain and really rewire some things and actually get through the level in like a record time. But
Hmm.
in order for that record time to happen, like you have to have time in practicing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
And that's the key, right? Like time in practicing.
mm, it, I feel like people are too focused on the output rather than the input.
Yep. Because everybody wants to be number one. Everybody wants to be number one. And unfortunately, that's not the best way to look at it as far as something that you need to achieve. Like it's the best way to look at it if you understand you're number one.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
like
great. That's great.
if
I
we want to
definitely
talk
agree.
about number one stuff, like we have to, we have to open up with like what it is that we're seeing. Like sometimes I'll play certain games and
Hmm.
I won't even connect it to like the other people because I'm like, I don't even care if I gotten so many points that I'm in first place of like the people that are in my fields, in my algorithm base, you know? But then sometimes I'll be like, you know what? I feel like I did really, really good in this level. Let me see how really good that really is.
Mm. I hear you. I hear you.
And I won't be too mad, right? I won't be too mad if I get on number five, because I'll be like, you know what, dang, I did pretty good. I still didn't get to number one, but I still did good.
Yeah, I feel it. That's exactly how I feel. That's like part of the reason for an example in like a boss battle in the game. Like sometimes you just like you just be losing over and over and over again. It can be so frustrating. But the thing is, you had to take all those 40 losses. You had to put the time in to be able to get that one win. And that like puts me into the mindset also in reference to like a fighting game. And it, like talks about like this particular moment that happened in like fighting game history, which is moment 37 by Daigo, where it was like a Street Fighter tournament. No, excuse me. Yeah, it was a Street Fighter tournament. It was a Street Fighter tournament, and this player did something. They did 15 repeated actions, which means that they had to have done them in the perfectness of milliseconds 15 times. They had to be like perfectly on point 15 times with like a milliseconds of gap for error. And it's this famous moment because this person did the unimaginable. But the reason that person was able to do the unimaginable, because like we can only assume how many hours, how much time, how much patience they had playing that game to be able to be there for that moment when it really mattered. And I believe that same thought process can be relayed back into our own lives in terms of like, for an example, I guess like really, I was gonna say building a business, but that's not even really like a part I want to touch on. More so reference to yourself. Like you just gotta be there for yourself at least one time for you to be able to use that as a reference point to then keep doing that and keep moving forward. All because you had patience for yourself one time. Your patience allowed you to build patience for yourself.
100%. 100%. I don't know if I ever told you that story about when I used to play the clarinet and
No.
so yeah, I think I was like in third or fourth grade and I just like landed at a place where I was I was a Navy baby or Army baby, military baby per se. Like I hopped around a lot at a younger age. And so like when I finally landed in this place and I wanted to like play the clarinet, I was staying in a town like, everybody was like fairly in like familiar with everybody at this time. And I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna try to like follow what the other people are doing and pretend like I'm playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never get like the good uh sheet notes because like there's levels, there's first string, second string, and third string and fourth string. And obviously if you're in first string, like you're one of the more pronounced sounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to get third string and like third, fourth string because like I wasn't making any eligible sounds. Like I was just like making it look like I was doing something.
I've been there.
And
I've
then
been there.
one day I finally was like, right? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the time and I'm gonna figure out what the hell I'm doing because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. And I sat there for 3 hours and I figured out the damn notes so that I can play like freaking Mary Had a Little Lamb or whatever. And it was such a great accomplishment. And after that, I knew what I was doing. I got moved up to first and second string. I'm no longer on third and fourth. And that would have never happened if I did not like just sit there, give myself the time and the patience of figuring out what this is.
Hmm.
And I do more of that with my instruments too. You know, I have more instruments now, and you don't really know what you're doing at first. When I got my first singing bowl, I couldn't make that thing sing. It was like it was just like how a lot of other people feel like, I don't know, it's not making any noise. But then, I put it down. I took a moment, I gave it a couple of weeks. I picked it up, I just kept practicing until I started being able to make the sound. And now I have like so many more instruments, you know.
Like, can you say what you said
I
again, Mahatma?
have,
You cut out for a little bit.
uh, I just teach myself how to play things now. And if I need to Google, I'm gonna Google it.
Hmm.
Patience. So like, oh, I said like, if I need to figure it out, I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna give myself the patience to to step into it. And especially now we're at a place to where, the search engine has so much stuff for us. Like it's very for I don't know. There's a lot of room for I can't do that. A lot of room still. Like just because you know it don't mean you can do it.
Yo, that's so true. Oh my gosh.
And so like how about like I would like to like flip the question on you.
Hmm.
The signal is getting a little shoddy. I want to throw it over to you and ask you like what is coming up for like you? Like what have you been exposed to for yourself with like gaming and
I would say in reference to that, it's I guess more recently I've started playing like RPG games, in particular Grandia. I just picked up because I was trying to study it, and it's just like adventure story, pretty linear, little open world elements. And I was never really into like single player games. The last single player game I actually finished was like Hotline Miami, um, but I didn't really like them. Uh, Mainly because I was just like, bro, this is kind of like boring to me. Because I was like, man, I'm not trying. Like, I'm trying to play multiplayer. I'm trying to go talk to these people. I'm trying to be involved. I want to be on this competitive level. I'm not trying to be in this storyline. What is this? Um, if I was doing anything even remotely single player, it would be like me playing like Minecraft or something, or like a fighting game. But recently, playing this game, I allowed myself patience to really play the story and like see what's going on. This game was originally made back in like the 1990s, and as I'm playing it, I'm like, yo, this is actually a good story. Like I'm happy I took the time to play this and to enjoy myself as I played it. And now it's actually turning into like a game I'm really enjoying playing on my Switch. It's a whole lot of fun. And that's only led more into me enjoying my time with games even more and making me want to make games and look back into getting into that because I tried that as a kid, but I didn't have patience at all for what I was doing. So yeah, that's what's really coming up for me right now, based on
do you
everything you're
think
saying.
that's where like a lot of game rage comes from?
Like the not having patience.
Yeah.
It could be the fact that people want an immediate reward and they're not getting it, which I think is a lot of reasons why certain people play games, because in real life it takes so long to do things. But in a game, it's like this streamlined, super obvious way of progression. And I feel like when people feel like it's not that, it frustrates them, and they feel like they've been cheated in some type of way. The same way how some people, some gamers at least, feel like life isn't fair for everyone because certain people just use wealth to get ahead. Hence why certain gamers don't like for an example, pay to win in games. Like the fact that someone can pay their way to the top without putting in the time like everyone else.
It takes time to be able to pay for something. And you see, that's the problem, like a lot of people um get lost in like where people have actually utilized their patience.
Mm.
And I think it's pretty radical, because like I used to feel like that too. I used to be like, you know what, I don't want to pay 25 coins to get extra moves so I can beat this game. But I know that if I pay this extra 25 coins, it's gonna give me the moves I need to beat this game.
I hear what you're saying. It did. It's two sides of every coin. Literally, literally.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to be willing to pay a little extra just to get over the board.
Yeah, some of these games, I mean, some people do like some unhealthy monetization practices, but there's nothing wrong with getting someone to invest themselves into what they're spending time. I mean, more than time, like bro, more than money, you're spending your time, and like that's a way more finite asset, you know. So
Yeah, that's why I recommend like to be mindful, hint hint, of everything that you're doing, and life becomes more magical that way. And I feel like gaming has been a scapegoat for a lot of people to not feel like they don't have to practice patience or temper their anger. And it's like, how can we turn something that's so beautiful into like a dark addiction?
hmm.
You know?
I think it comes from they want to fill a hole in themselves that they feel they can't fill in the real world. Or they might not even know what the hole is, or if I have the patience to figure out what the hole is, and that's why they take themselves in the context of the game, they take it too seriously to the point where, I mean, actually, I don't have a problem with people taking games seriously, because like if you're really into it, you're really into it. As long as you're not making people feel bad about themselves, like okay. But
I think people take it that serious to where they have like they feel like the thing is if you don't turn off the fight, you feel like you always have to fight. And so like if you have a job where you're always in this indifference with people, and then you go home and you play video games that create more indifference in you, and then you go back to work and you create more indifference, and it's like this vicious cycle of like making yourself feel like life is always so challenging, that it's nerve-wracking, that it's stressful, that it creates this impatience. And
wow.
that's when like you're not being mindful enough of like what you're ingesting.
My gosh, Mahatma, you spitting right now. You're really spitting. That was fire. Great explanation. And I
Like,
really I hear you on that. I hear you on that. It is a vicious cycle because like it makes me think about the people who I think it's like that particular person or that character. Let's use that character type. Also, because they're frustrated when they see other people online, they want to throw that frustration onto them, That's why they're more likely to react or comment on negative things on social media or be negative in a game towards others, because like that's the existence they're living, and they don't understand that that existence that they're living is literally a choice. And if they had
Yeah.
the patience to realize that it's a choice and to realize that they don't have to do this. Sure, your life's not going to change in a day, like dramatically, but your mindset could.
Right. It can very well. And I get a lot of real fuel because I play the game of life. And check out my Facebook, Mahatma Starseed, and you can see the controversial things that I put on there. Honestly, I don't think that they're controversial, but the way that the bots respond, you can tell that, they're a simulated program. And I would be wrong to be saying this to their face, but I don't. I just tell them, I'm keeping in my queue of what I'm paying attention to. And it's so easy for me to identify with so many people worried about the game I'm playing that they're not even exposing the game they're playing.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Once again, two sides to every coin. Can't act like one is not playing a role in some type of way or form. And once
It's
again,
over.
just to be attacking people on the internet, bro, like, I mean, maybe they do have patience and they're just using it in the wrong ways. Like, bro, you have to be patient to have the time to do that.
Right. Right.
Because, like, I don't have the patience for that. My patience is spent elsewhere. I guess that's really what it is. You have it's like a coin purse. Like, you got to choose which machine you're gonna put these coins into,
Yep.
of where you're gonna spend this time and this patience, and just caught up in it. And that's why, like, for an example, that's why I've always enjoyed competitive games mainly. That's why I didn't like RPGs, is because in a competitive game, the more time I put into learning the mechanics and getting better, the more fun I was going to be allowed to have. And I've always liked that. I've always liked starting and not being good at the game to getting to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm nice with it. This is, oh.
Right. Right. Moving with it. You moving with it.
Yep.
And that's like, that's how I like to transpose that game of life for myself because, I've stepped into this already with my end game in mind. And I understand why I am talking. And so when people come and they attempt to provide me advice and it's irrelevant, I don't need to pay attention to it because it's not a part of the mission. It may be a part of the scenic tour, but it's not a part of the mission. It's just like, I think, I don't know if Zelda was like this, but like when you'd go on a mission, like sometimes you'd get stopped by a vendor and they'd ask you if you want some bread and stuff. Oh, but it cost this much. But then you're like, but I only got so much coins and I need these coins to like get this key for me to get to the next level. And it's like, why am I going to give you these coins? If I give you these coins, I'm not going to be able to actually do my mission. So yeah, no, I don't want the bread right now. I'm good. I'm good on that bread.
Yeah, I feel you. Oh, nah, there's definitely a lot of things like that, and in particular, like I guess it's kind of in a way too. It's like with like certain games that like use loot boxes to get you to spend money on them, which is not even about getting to the next level. I mean, I guess if it is like you're paying to get a better item, but like it's a slot machine at that point, and it's like if you want to play that game of chance, people, I guess, but in terms of a game of chance, I'd rather be spending that on something I could know is going to pay off, like furthering myself mentally or physically. or spend it on like I don't know, bro. If you want to go splurge, I mean, if you look at it like that's you splurging on yourself and like you're taking the time to do that, okay, fair enough. But if you're like always doing that with your money, all right, there's something I don't know if I could
Right.
fully condone.
Yep. Yep. That's why, but in order for you to have these mindfulness thoughts, one has to take the moment, take the time, have the patience to consider, like, what feels right for me. Because everything that we do doesn't feel right for everyone. Everybody's in a different place at a different time, and sometimes even for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there'll be times like you can get offered at like 12 o'clock at night. Oh, uh, click this button and you can play on unlimited for the next 4 hours. But you got to go to sleep because you got to wake up in 4 hours. Like, I'm gonna wait to press that power pack because I can't use it really right now to the best of my abilities.
Mm. Is it scheduled at exactly 12, like 12 a.m.?
Nah, they just like to give you like unlimited times to play. Like it's like at what do you call them? Nocturnal hours.
Hmm.
Because they can
Interesting.
tell. They can tell like by the time it's like anywhere after 11 o'clock, you're gonna get incentives for playing the game for whatever insomniatic hours that you may stay up for.
I see what they're doing. They're using habits to get people to keep playing the game, but it kind of that feels a little manipulative because
It's
it's like I mean it depends on like if it's a global I think no Zanga I'm pretty yeah wait no is Candy Crush from Zanga I'm not sure but regard
yes, yeah.
oh it is okay yeah then like
Mhm.
yeah Zanga's an American company like they know you're gonna be going to sleep bro
They
like
know they
like,
know who we are.
like what do you like why are you trying to get them to be an insomniac like
I
I
mean, our people only respond off of manipulation.
speak on that a little bit what do you mean.
Like, how many things can you actually say that you do without have ever being manipulated?
I
Like,
was thinking about work. I was like, man, the only reason I go to work is because I need money. Like,
you were manipulated into that thought.
yo,
You
for
was
real.
manipulated into that thought. I'm not saying there's good manipulation and bad manipulation. There's nothing wrong with it. But like they had to manipulate you into that and be like, you see, this is why you need it. This is why you need it.
Mm,
If you don't brush your teeth, you're manipulated. Oh, people gonna look at you funny. Your teeth gonna fall out. And God forbid someone sit there and tell you, that you gonna have strong teeth. You're gonna be able to eat well and live long. You know what I mean? Like
mm-hmm,
that's not what we're being fed in this now moments in this reality and realm.
mm,
And so to understand that we have to, as a society, understand that these kind of things aren't going to be taken away because this is how the body responds the best, and learning how to just make it to where you identify with like where you decide to be manipulated. You know,
mm,
if I get a infinite hours for the next 4 hours, you know what? I'll play for 30 minutes if I got 30 minutes to play. But in 30 minutes, I need to stop playing. You gotta call it.
mm. But and I think that comes into patience and wanting to come back. But I also want to say like that's a like certain things when like you talked about like the brushing teeth like there's a streamer who's really popular called Asmongold and he talks about how like his lack of brushing his teeth caused him like health problems and I think some of that played into the lifestyle he had of the games he was playing and how much they were pulling him away from doing what he needed to do to be healthy
Right, right,
but at the end of the day it's his life he can live how he wants but
right. I mean, at the end of the day, if our teeth weren't important, like we wouldn't have them. So,
Mm-hmm.
of course, on many levels, brushing our teeth, taking a shower, changing our clothes are definitely necessary. But did we have to be manipulated into doing it? Not so much.
Mm.
Not so much. We just need to be encouraged, because the body responds to encouragement just as much as it responds to manipulation. However, community responds to manipulation faster than it responds to empowerment.
Why do you think that is?
The fear, it's
Mm.
always it's always fear of not being a part of the group. But that's because we've been highly manipulated. And so that fear is just so high. Like don't you dare say you don't want to take a shower every single day. Like, don't say that in a room. That's like saying you don't like Michael Jackson, or you don't know what the Super Bowl is. You know what I mean? Like, these are not things you could just go out and play, and people are going to be like, you know what? I can understand why it didn't come to you.
Yo. Oh my gosh, that makes me think about man, what is that anime? Man, there's this anime about what is it? Oh, I'm trying to think. Oh, it's this anime about this man, and all he ever was good at in life was playing video games. Then like he went to like a coma and came back with like magical powers. Um, but because he chose to live his life so differently from everyone else, and he saw nothing wrong with it, people would shun him sometimes to be like, man, you really wasted a lot of your time playing video games, man. Why are all your life lessons from video games and not like real life? But he wasn't ashamed of it. He was very proud.
Right. Right. It's and because we don't have the patience to allow ourselves to hear someone else be outside the normal realm of manipulation. It's funny when you say it that way, right? If I just sit here and say programming, it's not that bad. But once I explain like this programming was manipulated into you, now you're like, wait a minute, I'm not so happy about this right now.
No, I definitely hear what you're saying. It plays into a lot of aspects of life where her like in terms of like patience for people. Like there's a scene in I forget which anime this is, but somebody's leaving a tip in this scene. I forget. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on this anime. But I was watching this anime. There was like a moment where somebody was tipping somebody, and it made me think about how in the current day and age, like tipping is becoming like a big topic in the general public's eyes, because like it's just the tipping amount is going up and up. What you're supposed to give someone for like a service, which I'm not against you people tipping people, but it goes down to the fact that someone said that I was listening to about this, about how tipping, if you don't tip someone, no one ever cares if you don't have the money to tip them. They care that you didn't tip that person. And the fact that it makes you it intrinsically makes like us want to guilt others into doing something, even if they didn't enjoy the service or not.
Right.
And in a way, it kind of like makes people who are like poor feel bad about being poor too, because it's like, if you can't tip, why are you trying to why are you eating out? Why are you trying to get a nice dinner with your family? It's like, geez, bro, you don't they can't have a you can't enjoy nice things too.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it also goes with like, I'm always throw patience in there, like people having the patience to really properly plan what they want to do, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But like a lot of people have been manipulated into these roles, and that's why we spend time trying to etch it out, because it's not authentically in our mind. And so that means it's up as an option of not partaking in it,
Mm.
because I don't see any plus side of me making sure I consider this other person.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that.
right?
There's a lot
And
to
I
be
mean,
said.
I guess we can compare it to the whole purchasing because it came up after that. So like purchasing the coins to get through the level.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you don't always like want to purchase the coins to get through the level. Like you don't always want to have to pay extra to get through the level. And so I feel like that's like the same thing with like the tip thing. Like you want to do it sometimes though, but that's the intent. That's being mindful. That's being intentional. Like not obligating yourself. Like I always have to always be the best tipper, but understanding, you know what, sometimes I'm going to have to be a good tipper for me to get through something good in life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
And
tipping is more than financial.
understanding that, right? Understanding that, giving someone $18 over $15, like you don't know, they were probably $18 short to make the phone bill, and you just made them complete with the extra $3.
No, I definitely hear what you're saying. I definitely hear. I just wish that people's employers would give them that patience too, in terms of like actually paying them.
Even get me started.
Yeah, yeah. It's a it
It's
makes
a reconstruction. Like we reconstruct our game strategies. So many people are dropping the ball on what they deserve. It wasn't until I was really pretty seasoned in the working world that I started because temp agencies are really big right now.
hmm
Are those listening? But
hmm
temp agencies are really big, and especially for my department for that I would work in was accounting. And like eventually, I got to a point where I was like, I'm gonna need an extra dollar to show up for the interview. Like I need to know I'm gonna get paid an extra dollar. Oh, you're offering $22 for this job? I want 23.
hmm
And then I'll go on the interview.
hmm. Well, it's really about valuing your time, especially because like nowadays there's so many more options digitally. There's more ways to make money nowadays than there were really any time period, in my opinion. Like if you wanted finance, you either had to sell something or you had to work for someone. Versus now, you can just make videos, which I guess you're selling content, and get advertisement from that. Or I mean, you can still do that and again, like people give you something and you just like recommend it to your audience, which is that too. But
Yeah, because social media influencing is a full-time job.
oh yeah, yeah, that is people speak on it very light. So a lot of people speak on it lightly. Like the people who make social media as a full time job, they have patience. They have extreme patience. You're making content and thinking of ideas all the time to entertain your audience. That is not easy at all. People make it seem like it is, but it's not. Because if it was easy, everybody could do it.
Yep.
And the thing is,
Even
everyone
for
kind
my
of can do it, but is everyone going to be good at it or be consistent enough? Probably not.
right. Or patient
Yep, patient enough to keep the consistency. Um,
and willing, like and respecting their character. A lot of people get lost in their character, you know, and they don't identify their manipulation modules.
it makes me think
And
about you talk about the manipulation modules and just like the patient with the character. Take it back to that anime I was talking about before. Like that person, like they use their special powers to become like a YouTube influencer. And they just film themselves. It's like that's how they start making money, and they're just posting videos and so forth. But it's man, bro, I it frustrates me how easy people make things seem, but they themselves don't have the patience to do it.
right, right. The end product always looks beautiful. But the creation is OMG. It is the beginning of a new story that nobody can ever imagine, you know,
Indeed.
what it takes to get to somewhere. And I, I tell that to even my children, like when you watch these social media influencer, like I need you to know they're educated. Like they're most likely have gone to college or gotten some type of business training. They're just not, shooting in the wind. And if someone did shoot in the wind, they definitely went and got some coaching. As soon as they understand that they're about to be dealing with people that they've never dealt with, like you you have to go and get help. Like there's no video game that you play that you don't go and ask an expert, like, bruh, I'm about to go battle this person. Like, what you think I need?
Yeah, I hear what you say. Yo.
It's beyond me how people be like, yeah, I'm the best. I'm just gonna go straight into this, and then like, who are you talking to? Nobody. I can't trust nobody. Like what?
I mean, that also speaks into, for an example, pulling it back to like we mentioned with the anime, like anyone from like Goku to Luffy to Asta, like all these Naruto, like they all had to go talk to. I mean, they were exceptionally talented, yes, themselves, but they had to also go. They had to go to get truly serious. They had to be taught by someone else who was just as serious and had already done what they wanted to do.
Sometimes it was a spirit or an entity that was not of this world.
Mm-hmm. Guided
You
them.
know. Yep. So like,
Guidance, especially in Naruto's
it's not
case.
always gonna be physical.
I think that plays back into the patience aspect too. Like those characters had the belief in themselves to be patient enough to see how their story was gonna end, instead of just allowing themselves to spiral into despair because it's not how they want it right now.
Yeah, for facts, for super facts.
Mm.
So let me
You cut out a little bit. Can you hear me? Mm-hmm.
so signal going.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I was asking you if you hear those Black Mirror episodes yet.
Oh, I've seen the one with the film. I've seen the one about um the TV show about her life, and
Yes,
I'm
that one.
yeah.
That one. That one right there. I really feel like they're doing that already. That like without a doubt they're doing that already.
Yo, it's interesting. I wonder if that actually would happen if they would start just making shows out of people, just completely AI generated, like without their permission, or
Storyline. I feel like the storyline is AI generated for sure. Like I think that they're getting it off of our phones, like 100%. Because we don't know what we're saying yes to. Like we're just like, let me watch TV. Whatever terms and conditions I need to say yes to.
see, but that's the thing too. Like they know people don't have the patience to read those things, nor the
Mhm.
technical know-how, and like that's why those documents shouldn't be the way that they are. They should be way simpler, way
Right.
simpler.
I don't even understand.
We don't need like okay, I understand fine prints and stuff like that, but at least give them like bullet points. Jeez.
Right. Right. So I can only imagine like what kind of feed they're getting from us, and the gamer unit as well. Because like they're getting the data from somewhere, and they're not letting this data just sit and build up and truncate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing something with our with our playing hours, with how many people we allow on our system, how many people that we're playing with on the live online, and just being able to like have the patience to pay attention to that. And I feel like that's been a really big ask because I used to tell people about like their job like that. And I would be like, getting a paycheck is nice, but understanding who's paying you is even better.
Ooh. Ooh.
And especially like with all of the things that have been happening, like I don't know how much you follow the news. I'm a little bit of a politician.
Mhm.
And so, over the past couple of years, it's been this whole fight over the pipelines, right?
Mhm.
And so one of the banks that are invested in the pipeline is one of the banks that a lot of us most likely frequently use. So we don't understand that we're investing in a company that's investing in something that we're against. And we may not think that we're a part of the problem, but we are if we're investing in it. If we're literally giving them our money, they're able to take our money and invest in it whichever which way they want.
That is not exactly the exact same, but it's a similar thing of kind of what's happening with like between the moral issues that's been happening recently in the gaming community and mainly streaming too, um community of Twitch versus Kick, which is two streaming platforms, and people saying that people saying if you take the time to look into it, you can see that Kick is is a funnel for this gambling site, even though there's no advertisement on it of that particular site. And people say like, well, anyone taking money to go there is selling out, you're doing harmful things. But then people are turning around talking to them saying, well, Twitch is owned by Amazon, and we know exactly what Amazon is and has been doing to its workers, but you guys don't complain about that. And which a lot of people also didn't know. Like I was talking to some people didn't know Twitch is owned by Amazon. But yeah, yeah, like it's that's why we rely a lot on people to tell us what's happening rather than us going and looking ourselves. And I think AI is also going to play a pretty big role with that in the future of just like updating people on what's happening in the world really quickly. Um, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I would hope that hopefully people's time would be more freed up so they'll have more time to look into things or have the patience to learn about more of what's happening in the world or at least in our country. But bro, at least in your neighborhood, dog. I don't know. Something around that vein.
Yeah, at least understand what people are developing, and that's like a big thing that people don't have patience for, and they just want to buy the game, and it's like, okay, but like, do you understand a lot of things that people inventors make are made in the most weirdest places, and they end up in other places, and so being able to understand, like, do we even have any, like, has anybody ever created a study with what game makers do with the data that they get from our gaming?
There probably
And
is, but
like,
I haven't seen it.
who's right? It's not like mainstream. It's not something that's like pertinent to our everyday life, you know.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm saying that for me myself, like, hello, I'm saying, and where I'm lacking in my patience, or not even seeking to provide patience for, but doesn't mean that it's not something that should be at least considered.
Yeah, I would 100% agree, and I think that's actually something that especially with what's been happening in the world with like more hackers and more hacks happening and average people seeing companies get hacked and losing their data. Um, People are going to have to start really getting more educated around that topic and getting really, really aware of security for themselves and their data because If someone is hacking a company to try and if someone has the patience to hack a company to steal your data, how valuable really is your data?
Yeah, yeah. It's very much there. You know, like with all of this talk about being more patient, being more mindful in all of the realms, including the gaming realm, and with like therapy starting to show up on these virtual comms, how do you see the gaming world changing like soon?
Oh yeah, it is changing currently. There is definitely more of an awareness of what is happening, and even more than so than what is happening, it's a more of awareness of I think, as you mentioned, therapy. I think therapy and just mindfulness in general, and I guess more related to mental health, is becoming more of a larger thing in all territories of existence at this point. Maybe it's more. Maybe I'm more aware of it due to like an American thing, but that is definitely what's happening. I'm watching more games be aware of this themselves. More people making different games, just in the key of awareness, and also just players getting upset with game companies for not protecting their data, as another example.
Yeah, it's like, our demographics are there, our age category, how much we play, how much we spend.
Yeah, it makes me think about these anime streaming sites too, and the people linking themselves to that, and like well, streaming sites in general too. Honestly, really. Then it's like, what are they taking from you, and what are they tracking? And if you're not paying anything to use the service, you are the service. Yeah, this is certain things, certain things.
Speaking that truth. You're speaking that truth.
Yeah, it come down to certain things. But I'm not. But before we finish out, Mahatma, where's a place? What is a section of your life that you want to develop more patience in?
Uh, the section of my life that I'm currently looking to create more patience in is balancing the 3D and the 5D in a day-to-day manner. You know, fully engaging with people that are just like more 3D than 5D.
Hmm.
And at the same time being able to engage with people that are more 5D than 3D.
Hmm.
And still allowing myself to remain in my patience and not feeling anxious to get away from this party or anxious to get towards this party.
Hmm. So like in between, it's
You
like
know,
in between the physical and the astral / ether realms.
yeah.
I understand. The higher intuition. Speaking to that,
Mhm.
I'm glad to hear
Yeah,
it. But
it'll help me play on my game board even better.
yep, yep. Ah, yeah. I need some better performance out of myself too. Playing these games taking a lot out of me. um, yeah, but Mahatma, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure. We have had a wonderful session, and I think and I hope people have learned a lot from this session too. And I can't wait to do this again.
Thank you very much. And for those of you that want to find out more about me, find me on YouTube as well or Instagram, Elite Motivation 411, and you can get more mindfulness ways of being.
Yep, yes indeed. All right, everyone. Y'all have a great night. Peace and love, and until next time.